Oh, am I going? I'm going to assume I'm going. Hi everyone, this is poorman973, and for everybody that is in America, happy Independence Day, or the 4th of July, as it is commonly known. Today, yesterday I asked what you guys would most likely to see, and I got several requests for the Casey Up to Bat poem, which I'll be reciting later. It'll just be a regular video, not a live stream. And the other one was for some U.S. history, and I was thinking, how can I do this proper, you know? So what I decided to do, I pulled up several quizzes up on the internet. I have not looked at them. I don't know what they're about. I don't know anything about, except for two of them are specific quizzes about the United States presidents. Hey, MB Studio. Now, right now, my laptop is updating, so I cannot see the chat at all times, but I'll be checking it periodically. And while we're going through here, for every question, I'm going to try to give some detail about what I know about the subject. And now, obviously, I don't know everything, but we're going to see how it's going to go. First quiz we're going to have here is for the U.S. President Trivia Quiz. It goes 25 questions long. Are you a history guru or a Nephalite? Take a quiz to find out. Alright. Well, who was the only president to serve more than 2 terms? Now, this would be the Franklin D. Roosevelt. Roosevelt served for 4 terms. For 4 terms, he did not finish his last one. It was he passed away, and Harry Truman took his place. And the reason he was voted so many times was because it happened to be during World War II, and the citizens decided, you know what, this is a really big war, and right now Roosevelt is doing a really good job. We're just going to keep him. It's safe, it's easy. Let's keep Franklin Roosevelt in office. So they kept voting him in. But otherwise, no one has ever served more than 2 terms. So Franklin Roosevelt. Alright, this would be Grover Cleveland, who was the only president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. I was actually going to tell this in the last one. Alright, hold on, my laptop is getting done updating. Let me get it started so I can see the chat more regularly. Alright, hold on, guys. Checking chat real fast. Sorry, guys. I'm not trying to ignore you. I'm just trying to get. I didn't know my laptop got unplugged and ran out of power, so that would be no. No, I'm not. Oh, can you guys not see? Let's see. I'm trying to see. This is not what I want. Okay. Editor. Hold on, guys. I fix it. I'll fix it. I'm fixing it. Because it's enormous. I'll fix it. I'm fixing it. No, I'm independent. Alright. You should now be able to see all the answers. I apologize. I am so sorry about that. Laptop's still setting up, so I'll still have to keep switching into the chat to see what's going on, guys. But yeah, this is Grover Cleveland. He lost his bid for the second consecutive, but he didn't make it, and he said basically I'll be back and gonna run again. And the time after that, Grover Cleveland was once again elected to be president. So he was voted 2 times, non-consecutively. So that would be Grover Cleveland. Oldest elected president. Now, this is not Donald Trump. This is, I think, Ronald Reagan was still older when he was first elected. I think. Donald Trump is currently 71. I'm trying to think. I don't know if it would count if when Ronald Reagan was voted for his second term. So this could be either Ronald Reagan or Donald Trump. No, okay, so okay, that was wrong. Okay, Donald Trump is technically the oldest. So I guess, as I said, I'm pretty sure that Ronald Reagan was 74, 75 for a second term, I want to say. See, I did know that Donald Trump was 71 years old, so I guess he is now officially the oldest president. First president to live in the White House, that would be John Adams. George Washington was not the first president to live in the White House. He never did. He lived on Mount Vernon. Checking the chat here real fast. No fireworks this year. I can't afford it, so I'm just gonna watch our city fireworks from down the street. I have a perfect view right down my street, and I can see the city fireworks just perfectly. And as to who I voted for, that's nobody's business but mine. I'm sorry. All right, yeah, but back to my question. John Adams is. Oh, okay. I can finally pull up the unit so I can see the chat over here on my laptop, so I don't have to keep switching. John Adams was the very first president to live in the White House. Because it was actually finished after George Washington had finished. Outside the continuous United States? Let's see. Now, technically, Barack Obama was born in Hawaii when it wasn't a state. But it was technically still United States owned providence. So he was born in the United States. At least I think that's what it was. There's been a lot of controversy around it. Now with these other ones, I actually do not know. Barack Obama is the only one that I know. Franklin Pierce, Taft, and Benjamin Harrison. I do not know. I'm going to just guess this one. All right. So he was born in Honolulu. Oh, never mind. My brain's all screwed up. He was born in the United States. It was the United States. It's just not in the. It's just not connected to the big area. Thank you, Internet. All right. Checking chat here. No, he was born in Hawaii. Before the 12th Amendment was passed in 1804, how was the vice president determined? Appointed by the president, there was no official vice president before 1804. That is not true. President and vice president were voted on separately. That's not true either. The president candidate received the second largest. No, that's not true. That's real. Oh, no, never mind. President candidate received the second largest numbers of electoral votes. See, the only thing I can think of, the reason I'm thinking that is because William Henry Harrison. When was William Henry Harrison first elected? No, William Henry Harrison must have been voted afterward. In fact, hold on. William Henry Harrison was voted in. Oh, in 41. He was way after. He was way after. So who was? Hold on, I'm cheating. I actually have a. That would have been during Thomas Jefferson's. Well, got that one wrong. Please, just pull out my so I can see the chat laptop. Alright. Which U.S. president signed the treaty to purchase Alaska from Russia? I think this one might actually be... Oh gosh. I don't think it's Buchanan. I don't think it's Grant. Or Andrew Jackson, so it must be Andrew Johnson. That's right, alright. I'm gonna say, because I knew it wasn't the other one, so Andrew Johnson was the only one that I had left. Andrew Johnson is, of course, the president that took over after Lincoln was assassinated, I believe. So, yeah, he purchased Alaska from Russia, so that's always a good thing there. Alright, finally. No, I don't want this. I want to be able to pull up my chat, please. Laptop, just stop. Stop bringing stuff up so I can see the chat, please. Got it. Alright, now I can finally see the chat. To the next one. Who's the first president to appear on TV? It must be Roosevelt, because I know he was on TV. And Harry and Kennedy and Eisenhower, they all came after Franklin Roosevelt. So Franklin Roosevelt would have to be the first person to be shown on television, because I happen to know that he was on television during a an event for the last surviving Civil War veterans, dedicating a monument to them. First president to be impeached. That would be, once again, our good friend Andrew Johnson, I believe. Or was he just ascension? I think they wanted to impeach him. So, Andrew Johnson. Alright, so good old Andrew Johnson. Now, he is rated as one of the worst presidents ever, basically. The only reason he was the vice president to begin with is because they wanted to have a better chance for Lincoln to win, because he was considered a little bit more towards the South and stuff like that. So they never thought that Lincoln would be assassinated, so they never thought he would be president. Alright, who was the only electorate? George Washington. This one was really easy because unanimously elected. George Washington did it twice, I think, for both of his presidencies. No, stop this. Laptop, you have to stop. Yeah, George Washington won all the electoral votes in both elections. He's the only person to ever do it, and no other president has ever done it. And odds are, because the way it works, it will never happen again. At the time, George Washington was the hero of the Revolution, the person who brought their independence from Great Britain, and to everybody, he seemed like the best choice to get things done. appoint an African American to the Supreme Court. Oh gosh, I'm not sure on this one actually. I'm guessing it might actually be John F. Kennedy. That would be my guess. So no, it was his successor, Johnson. So let's see. President Lyndon Johnson appointed Thurgood Marshall to the Supreme Court following the retirement of Justice Thomas D. Clark, saying that this was the right thing to do, the right time to do it, the right man in the right place. Marshall was confirmed as an associate justice by a Senate vote of 69 to 11 on August 31st, 1967. He was the 96th person to hold the position and the first African American. Okay, that's very interesting. I knew it would be around Kennedy's time, so that would have been 4 years, I think, after Kennedy was assassinated. Alright, prior to the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., where was the president? That would be in New York, the Federal Hall in New York. That is exactly where it was held. In fact, it might have been Benjamin Harrison, who also got inaugurated in New York as the 100th year. It was a ceremony. They did it there because it was a big stepping stone from the very first time the inauguration was held in New York. Oh, I don't think I've heard "Oh Captain, My Captain." Walt Whitman's was written about which president? I have not heard this poem, but Walt Whitman. Nope, Abraham Lincoln. The name of Walt Whitman sounded familiar. Here, I'm actually going to look this up. Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman. Alright. Walt Whitman is an American poet. Let's see, Civil War years. Is he the guy I'm thinking of? Okay, he is. He's the guy that volunteered as a nurse reading his poems to the injured during the Civil War. Alright, what was the name given to the commission that was established to investigate John F. Kennedy's assassination? Oh, I have no idea. It might be the Warren Commission, actually. Yeah, okay, that's what it is. It's the Warren Commission. That sounded familiar. Now, I do not know very much about the Warren Commission, so we will check this out. The President's Commission of the Assassination of President Kennedy, known unofficially as the Warren Commission, was established on November 29, 1963 by Lyndon B. Johnson to investigate the assassination of the United States President John F. Kennedy. On November 22nd, its 888-page final final report was presented to President Johnson on September 24, 1964, and made public 3 days later. As I said, I don't know very much about this one. Just Warren Commission sounded familiar. How many presidents signed the Declaration of Independence? I actually know not very many did. Let's see. I believe Thomas Jefferson signed it. One, two. Okay, the other one was John Adams. I thought it might have been John Adams. But I knew not very many had signed it. A lot of people think, oh, George Washington signed in the Declaration, but no, he did. His signature is not on there. Um, Black History Month. Um, if you want to think about it, they teach white history all the other times. But I guess it's kind of nice that we still try to teach our children what we did wrong and how bad it was, and the important figures that helped um, all of our African Americans to resign from office. Now, this one's really easy. The only president to resign from office was Richard Nixon because of the Watergate scandal, and basically he broke into the Democratic offices, or not him personally, but to try to help him in the election, and they were going to impeach him. And instead of being impeached, he decided to resign. He is known for "I'm not a crook, I'm not a crook," and is famous like from the helicopter and everything. So, Richard Nixon. Which president signed the Civil Rights Act that extended the rights of emancipated slaves? Oh gosh. I know it wasn't Abraham Lincoln because Abraham Lincoln didn't have a chance to do that. He was assassinated so soon after the war. I don't think it was Andrew Johnson. I'm not saying that we shouldn't teach Black history throughout the entire year as well. I can say that I believe Morgan Freeman actually really hates Black History Month, stating that every month should be Black History Month, and do what? I'm not disapproving of that. All history should be included, because if you don't learn from your past mistakes, you are bound to repeat them. Alright, I figured it had to be Ulysses S Grant. Interesting enough, Ulysses S Grant, Ulysses is not his given birth name. I don't remember it. But Ulysses was his middle name, and when he went to oh gosh, I can't remember the name. It's a big military school, college. Shows how much I know. They accidentally registered him as Ulysses S Grant, and he said, "Oh well, that's my new name now. I'll take it." The word Rosa Parks, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. I do not know who Rosa Parks is. I feel if I look this up, and technically they were Christian. Rosa Parks. Jimmy Carter? Nope, Bill Clinton. Alright. This one I didn't know. This one was a shot in the dark for me. Rosa Parks was presented by President Clinton with the President. This is the highest honor bestowed upon the civilian. Alright. So, didn't do too well on that one. Alright. Which was the only president to earn his Master's of Business Administration? I don't know this one either. Wilson. Nope. Or George W. Bush. Sorry. We're getting to questions I don't know too much about, especially I know quite a bit about way past presidents. When we get to like, I guess Reagan and up, I don't know as much about. Next question, please. Who was the Barack Obama. Nope, Theodore Roosevelt. Well, see which president was the armored limousine and who donated it. This one I actually don't know either. Hold on. I don't think Trump is the best person to be president. Is he the worst person to be president? Probably not. I will say that some of his ideas and ideals I actually agree with. What ones I will keep personal to myself. I don't want to make this too political. This is just a fun video with quizzes and some U.S. history. Harry Truman. No. Al Capone. That's actually really interesting. That Al Capone gave Roosevelt an armored limousine. That's actually pretty cool. William McKinley assassinated. He was assassinated in Buffalo, New York. I knew this one pretty good. It was during the exposition in Buffalo, New York. I don't think he was killed instantly. No, I don't want to learn more right now. What disease did John F. Kennedy? I don't think he had polio. Scarlet fever? Alright, apparently it's scarlet fever. Alright. So, I'm going to reposition myself in my chair here. Let's say I knew it wasn't diabetes or asthma, and Franklin Roosevelt had polio, but it didn't affect him until he was a little bit more advanced in years. Looks like we're getting to the end of this quiz here. Who called for an Indian room? This would be Andrew Jackson. Jackson had decided that he was going to remove the Indians and send them west. It is also the cause of the Trail of Tears from the Cherokee. I think it was the Cherokee. Nope. Done. I don't remember, actually. My brain stopped here. But yeah, he decided to send them all in the... Alright, last question here. What was the covert operation established during the Nixon presidency to prevent the leaking of classified information to the news? I don't know. I do not know this one. The Ghost. Okay, the Plumbers. Oh, look, it's Mario and Luigi. Alright, the White House Plumbers, sometimes simply called the Plumbers, were a covert White House special investigation unit established in 1924. July 24th, 1971, during the presidency of Richard Nixon, it was a task to stop the leaking of classified information to news media. Its members branched into legal activities, working for the committee to re-elect the president, including the Watergate break-ins and ensuing results. I is a history buff. I missed 10 questions. Wow. Alright, we'll go with this one. This is from Offbeat. Do you know everything about American history? Alright, which city? He died in Dallas. He was shot in the Dealey Plaza in 1963, supposedly by Lee Harvey Oswald. Let's see. And from 1892 to 1954, Ellis Island housed. Ellis Island housed a lot of things. Let's see. It's either a typhoid hospital or an immigration inspection station. What year did Typhoid Mary show up? Let's go with the typhoid hospital. That was incorrect. It was the immigration station. Okay. Alright, what is the name commonly referred to the operation known D-Day? D-Day, it was, I was gonna say Overlord, but D-Day was what they called, and everything after that was D-Day +1, D-Day +2. You know, when they were still fighting basically near the beaches there. Women granted the right, the right to vote, the right to vote. I do not know this one. You'd think I would, living in Wyoming. We were the first people to actually let women vote because we wanted to be a state. Just didn't have enough people. Oh, there we go. 1920, Constitutional Amendment voted all women to right. Yeah, to right, to vote! I speak words good I do. Who is this First Lady? Well, it kind of looks like Eleanor Roosevelt. That's all. Couldn't be Martha Washington or Barbara Bush, because they would, Martha would have been painted and Barbara would have been in color. Continental Convention, which meeting was discussing the Constitution, was held in Philadelphia. Thurgood Marshall was the first African American. Oh, we just learned this. This was Supreme Court Justice. We just learned this in the other one, the other quiz. So. Not what I meant, Joey. Let's see, Condoleezza Rice served under George W. Bush. Loving v. Virginia was a landmark Supreme Court that invalidated laws prohibiting I don't know, interracial marriage. Oh, okay. I had no clue. Which of these Supreme Court cases ended segregation in schools? Let's see. Was it the Dred Scott decision? It wasn't. It was the Brown versus the Board of Education. Okay. No, Dred Scott was reversing the old Dred Scott decisions. That was earlier. Alright. What was the name of the document issued by Abraham Lincoln that freed? That was the Emancipation Proclamation. What a lot of people don't understand is the Emancipation only technically freed the slaves in southern states. Not one of the U.S. allies. Ah! My brain is slowly melting. Germany was not an ally. That was part of the Axis powers. Continue, I guess. Give me liberty or give me death. Do what? I have no idea on this one, actually. Give me liberty or give me death. Paul? Nope. Patrick Henry. Governor of Virginia and one of the founding fathers. Okay. Francis Scott Key wrote the Star Spangled Banner. On January 28th, the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded. It killed the first teacher to go up there. She was to go up, and she died. In 1972, five men were picked up. Maybe 5 men were picked up by police for breaking into the headquarters of the Democratic. This must be the Watergate scandal. I talked about that a little bit the last quiz too. That's right. Hi, Mom. Let's see, the 21st Amendment. This would be, oh gosh. Oh, in 1933, that would repeal the prohibition. The prohibition, of course, was to stop alcohol from being sold. A lot of people don't. It was actually not technically illegal to drink alcohol. You just couldn't sell it, and you couldn't buy it. You could still make wine for your own home consumption, as long as you didn't sell it. Two halves met in Utah. I know this. The Transcontinental Railroad. I've been there. I have been there. I've actually seen the Gold Spike and the reenactment, and it was an amazing place. When I was a kid, I loved trains, and I still love steam trains. I don't love modern trains as much because I can probably look out my back window and see one going by, and maybe within an hour. Hi, Dad. All right, the Declaration was signed in 1776. That is when we declared ourselves an independent nation from Britain. Fort Sumter was the first shots fired in the U.S. Civil War. Basically, Lincoln, the Confederates had surrounded the fort, which was basically a man-made island. And Lincoln said, they asked Lincoln for help, and he basically told the South, you can let me send these supplies, and we basically will continue to have peace, or you can attack the fort, and the war will be on your hands. You will have started the war, and you will be the one to blame. And they did. Only a horse got killed in the Battle of Fort Sumter. Robert E. Lee is famous for being one of the best generals, probably one of the best strategists and smartest generals ever to live. Robert E. Lee he fought for the South, but he disapproved of slavery. The only reason he fought for the South was because he considered Virginia his country. So he went. If Virginia would have never seceded, Robert E. Lee probably would have fought for the North, but they did, and he followed them into the Confederacy. Let's see, the first successful permanent settle. This might be Jamestown. I don't know if it was very successful, though. I think we only just recently discovered it. We're still digging it out. Alexander Hamilton appears because he was the Secretary of the Treasury. The Secretary of Treasury during Andrew Jackson's administration, if I believe. And Andrew Jackson actually didn't like him. See, in 1965, seriously, rapidly motivated rampage erupted in Los Angeles. In what neighborhood? I actually do not know this one. I do not know this one. Compton? Nope, it's Watts. Yeah, true. Stonewall Jackson was a very good general. The only thing is, he didn't care about who died, who lived, and who died. His men didn't like him, but Robert E. Lee, he was loved. He was beloved by his men. Let's see, do you know everything about? Let's see, at what university did 4 students die during protest on his campus? I don't know this one either. Kent State. I win. No. All right. Taking the lives of 4 and severely. No, it's no laughing matter to laugh at the shooting. That's just. The 49th state was Alaska. Why, it would be the 50th state. Florida. Yeah, Florida was. In Jackson's time, we had 49 states. I think it was Jackson. Or it might have been just before him. No, Jackson is the one that attacked Florida. You sure? A citizen test? I don't think I could pass that. President for most of the 50s. See, there we go. Eisenhower. Say, it couldn't be Kennedy, because he was shot in 63. Couldn't be Roosevelt. He died in 45. The oldest national park would be Yellowstone. Let's see, who said this would? It's obviously Teddy. Walk softly and carry a big stick. So basically, let's see. Basically, he meant, let's see. He was a big. He was in the military. He was Secretary of the Navy before he became president, and then vice president. He had served in the Mexican-American War, I believe. The Rough Riders. He was basically found as the Rough Riders. But he's also even though Grant made Yellowstone a national park, Theodore Roosevelt expanded the national park. So he was a big game hunter that protected lands where the game would be safe, basically, where you were not allowed to hunt. But Teddy. During World War II, thousands of Americans were locked away simply because they were of Japanese descent. It was probably one of the lowest moments of United States history. We took away these Americans. They were people who played baseball. They were people who paid taxes. They owned businesses and homes and went to school and spoke English, and we took them away just because they were Japanese. See, the Great Depression took place mostly during the 20s, I think. Nope, 30s. That's right. 20s was Prohibition, 30s was Depression. See, this might be Sitting Bull. The name who inspires people to defeat. Ooh. Say, that is a picture of Sitting Bull. I knew that. Sitting Bull actually, if I remember correctly, became basically a diplomat for the Native Americans. See you, Gabe. Why wasn't? He was resigned before it actually happened. He got out while he still could. Battle of Bunker Hill took place in... I don't know if it's Virginia or Massachusetts. Massachusetts? Alright, thought so. Charleston, that's right. Alright, fill in the Teapot Dome. That would be the Teapot Dome scandal. They actually dealt with a lot of oil companies here in Wyoming, if I remember correctly. Warren Commission. Okay, we already did this one, right? This was the death of President Kennedy. We already saw this in our other quiz. So, how long is this quiz? United States involvement in Vietnam took mostly during the 60s. That's right, just because Johnson and Nixon were very influential in the War of Vietnam. Rosa Parks. Civil rights movement. Oh, do it! I know now. I know who Rosa Parks is. She didn't want to give up her seat in the bus. I do know who Rosa Parks is. Okay, I do know. I know. He was a peanut farmer. President Carter was a peanut farmer. Grew peanut. Let's see, what country in the hockey team miraculously beat a semifinal round? I have no clue. No clue on this one. Absolutely none. I almost know nothing about hockey. The Soviets? Alright. I don't know. They elected to Congress. Okay. See, I don't think that it doesn't sound like a presidential candidate that I remember. And I didn't think it was governor of California. Let's see. Oh, this is the Star Wars. This is the Star Wars Strategic Defense Initiative. That's what they call it. They call it the Star Wars because it was basically, it was full of hot air. It was fake. It was science fiction. It was something that Reagan, I think, in his mind, thought could be possible, but that or it could just be propaganda to throw off the Soviet Union. I have no idea. Hillary Clinton. Okay, Sandra Day O'Connor. 1981. All right. See, I wasn't sure. That one I don't know. I don't know too much about the Supreme Court. Dred Scott was a slave who unsuccessfully sued for his freedom. Okay. And say he didn't shoot Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was shot by Booth. Well, this is Ulysses S Grant. This is just a picture of Grant. Yeah, George Custer. All right, yeah, he was a good general. Okay, we already answered this one. This is Franklin Delano Roosevelt, first president to appear on TV. All right, love you, Mom. Statue of Liberty was given by France. France given it. They even have a statue. It's not this. I don't think it's called Statue of Liberty in France, but they have one there too. Um, gosh. Which one of these cars? The Lincoln. Nope. That's... I did not know that. How long is this quiz? Which state seceded from Virginia? That would be West Virginia. Which of these cities was never a capital of the United States? Baltimore? Boston. Boston, okay. Boston was never one of them. Who's playing? I think it's Charles Lindbergh. Yeah, Charles Lindbergh flew the Spirit of St. Louis. Which following state was an independent republic before? You show the Alamo in the picture. Wyoming! Wyoming's here! It's Texas. Governor... No, President... I think it might have been President Sam Houston? Was the president of Texas. Where's coffee is grown? I have no clue. Hawaii? Gotta say, it's the only place that I think that it would actually grow. I don't think... Alright, if I can find one, I'll look one up. I'm still trying to see if I can't finish this question. How many questions is this? First 10, the Bill of Rights. This was pretty easy. George Washington Carver was famous for his contribution to the field of peanut farming. Basically, the South had destroyed their soil by growing the cotton, and it actually destroyed their soil. But through growing peanuts, it actually helps revitalize the soil and helped the South immensely. 12. Okay, I had no idea. I had no idea how many justices usually sit on it, but apparently the answer is 9. So I almost know nothing about the Supreme Court. The first public railroad was started in 1828. Gonna say, I knew it had to be pretty early, but not as early as 1781. Nat Turner was... I don't think there was any black generals. Maybe a slave. Yeah, I'm gonna say, they almost never promoted African Americans. The White House was built by slaves. I'm gonna say true. See, once again, a picture of the Alamo. Texas. How many questions are there? Oh my goodness. Is there still more after this? Alright. Why was this the headline? Dewey defeats Truman. The headline, they say Truman won. That is President Truman. Let's see, in 1773 to protest, the colonists just called the Boston Tea Party, who was found guilty of shooting Robert Kennedy. It wasn't Jack Ruby. Jack Ruby shot Lee Harvey Oswald. This one? Alright, yeah. Louisiana Purchase was from the French. We bought it from the French. Alcatraz is currently a national park. It was a correctional facility. Pearl Harbor was attacked in 1941. It was December 17th, I want to say. Alright, Harriet Tubman was a member of the Underground Railroad. Helped slaves escape, called Moses. A lot of slaves called her Moses. Ask not what your country can do, what for you can do for your country. I think that was John F. Kennedy. How many terms? Franklin, he ran for 4. He would technically die after in his fourth term, and Truman took over. This happened in 1969. We landed on the moon in 1969, and we did land on the moon. I'm saying we landed on the moon. It was not fake. That's my stance on it. Don't argue with me for that, please. Jackie Robinson was the first person to play Major League Baseball for an African American. Who was the United States fighting the War of 1812? We fought the United Kingdoms. Is there like 100 questions in this? Russia was an ally during World War I. I'm gonna see if I can. History teacher, eh? I've actually thought about it. William Hearst and Joseph Pulitzer popularized Ooh, I have no idea. Blue? Yellow! Alright, I did not know that. Let's see, Denali, the highest mountain in the United States, used to be named Mount McKinley. I actually did not know they changed it to its native name 3 years ago. That is actually news to me. But I did know that Mount McKinley was called Denali. Claire Barton was a nurse during the Civil War. Founded the American Red Cross. Ratified the Constitution. Virginia? No, Delaware. Alright, never mind. 1960, what medical advice became available? The artificial heart? Nope, birth control pill. Nope, apparently I don't know much about medicine either. George Washington was... No! He was our first elected president, but he was not the first leader of America. There are a couple others. Sorry. Had to sneeze. That hurt. First talkie movie? Singing in the Rain? No, I'm getting all these wrong. Suffered an earthquake in San Francisco. Not entirely sure why Chicago would be hit by a massive earthquake. I think Chicago is actually one of the most geologically stable areas in the entire United States. Let's see, what Massachusetts now for the witch? This would be Salem, the Salem witch trials. I definitely remember that because I played the town of Salem. This is obviously Jimmy Carter. No, it's Ronald Reagan. World War I ended, what disease? It would be in the flu. The flu ran rampant. Just 17 questions left. Oh, it's not 17 pages, is it? What famous... Okay, the Titanic ship. I guess technically a Zeppelin could be considered a ship. But yeah, the Titanic sank. The Model T Ford was introduced in 1908. Sorry, I'm trying to get through this quiz. 2005, Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. This is the Hindenburg. Who was responsible for the first airplane flight in the United States? That would be the Wright brothers. Orville Redenbacher. I just realized that. Popcorn. Popcorn. The speech Lincoln gave was the Gettysburg Address. The I Have a Dream speech was Martin Luther King Jr. Practice of owning legally, of legally owning humans. That's because that's why I think I was saying it. Ended in 1920. Oh, 1865. I read that as 1965. I don't know why I did. I was like, 1965? That's way too late. Okay. I'm just dumb. In what year was Martin Luther King slain? 19... Nope. Wait. I'm so dumb. What? The Wall Street crash kicked off. They dropped it on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Martin Luther King and other activists marched to Montgomery from what other, Selima? The U.S. Constitution was signed in 1787. This quiz won't stop! Mayflower set sail from Plymouth in, let's see, what, in 1620? Mayflower? Alright. Barack Obama was first born in Hawaii. This was in 2001. Twin Towers. Invented the telephone. Alexander Graham Bell. U.S. invaded Iraq in 2003. Finally, see results. How did I do? 84%. Uncle Sam is impressed. Alright, hold on, guys. Let's see. Okay. Type the words, please. Let's see this here. Alright, let's see what this quiz is. Now, this is not an official U.S. citizen test. This is just something CNN made. Let's see. We elect president for how many years? 4-year term. Do I have to hit next for everyone? Gosh darn it. The House of Representatives has how many voting members? I have no clue. Alright, 435. What is not a cabinet level position? Boy, I'm failing this. Who's in charge of the executive branch? The President of the United States. Which war was fought by the United States in the 1900s? Wasn't fought in the 1900s. The Afghanistan War was not fought. What is the name of the national anthem? The Star-Spangled Banner. What piece of land? The Louisiana Territory. How many U.S. senators are there? 50? 100. Never mind. 2 from each state. When was the last day you can send federal? It's sometime in April. The 15th? We fought Japan, Germany, and Italy. Alright, I'm eligible. I can be U.S. citizen. Let's see. Here we go. This is just 20 questions. Things every American should know. On what date did the Revolutionary War officially end? I have no clue. Okay. Who was the first president of the United States? Where was the Second Continental Congress held? This was the meeting during which the Declaration was ratified. I guess Philadelphia. Which following was not included in the original Constitution? Um, the Cabinet? What was the official language of the United States? English? I guess there isn't one? I don't know. A lot of us speak English. What is the day known as Black Thursday? Became a date to sign when the I have no clue. If I fail this, I'm not an American, apparently. Who was the president at the end? I think that was Richard Nixon. It could have also been Gerald Ford, but I don't know. Apollo 11 landed the first man on the moon. The Cuban Missile Crisis would have been, oh gosh, this could have been any of the years that Kennedy was president of 1961. Was the state of the first entered the energy state? Oh, I guess we know this one. This was Delaware. Who was the first to sign the Declaration of Independence? I don't know. Apparently his name was John. John Penn? I have no idea. Who did Abraham Lincoln defeat? He defeated in the 1960s. Douglas? I don't think it was James Buchanan was ready to leave. The Spanish War resulted in the United States gaining 3 territories from Spain, which did not acquire. We did not acquire the Philippines, I think. Henry Ford introduced in 1908, but his assembly line was what was remarkable about it? It was first, I think, it was the first moving assembly line. What date did the Japanese? That would be December 7th. Now I remember that was December 7th. Who was the first? We just heard this one. Sandra Day O'Connor, I think it was. What year? Oh, what is that song? I have no clue. There's a song about Columbus, and I used to sing it all the time when I was a kid. I have no idea. So, state elect a woman to Congress. New York? I have no idea. What is the name of magazine? Ben Franklin's magazine? Poor Richard's Almanac? When was the first? Let's go. Jamestown. Submit my answers. Let's see. Yes, 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 yes. No, there isn't one. Okay, I thought so. See, I didn't know. Gerald Ford. Okay, I also thought that might have been Paul 11. See, I didn't know. All I knew it was during Kennedy's administration. Delaware, John Hancock. The Philippines. We didn't. No, we didn't get Cuba. The first moving. What year did it? Okay, I was at least close. I knew it was 1490 something. Okay, I got that one wrong. Poor Richard's Almanac. Ooh, I got bad. That was a bad one. That was not a good one. Alright, I still have several more quizzes. Do you guys want me to continue? Or should I start recording my poem? What do you guys think? 62. Wow. Do one more? Alright, I can do one more. Is there 45 questions in this one? Eh, what the heck. We'll do another, Alright, can I name... Oh, this is just naming. Alright, well... Oops. John Adams. Second? Wasn't there two John Adams? John Quincy Adams? Okay, John Quincy Adams. Andrew Jackson. Thomas Jefferson. Franklin Pierce. Franklin Pierce. William Henry Harrison. Taylor. Zachary Taylor. Zachary Taylor. Bill Clinton. Let's see, got Franklin Pierce. Madison Monroe. Isn't that? No. Thinking of James Madison? No. Monroe is James Monroe. James Monroe. Grover Cleveland. How do you spell Cleveland? Sorry. Spelling has never been my strong suit. Grover Cleveland. James Madison. Alright, got the James Madison. Theodore Roosevelt. Okay. Theodore Roosevelt. Teddy? Okay, that works. Franklin Whoops. That was a typo. I don't have to put in the last names? What the heck? Okay, thank you for letting me know that. Bush. Johnson. That should have 2 of them. What if I just put in here? Benjamin Harrison. Hoover. Obama. Trump. Taft. Grant. Buchanan. Hold on, I gotta cheat for this. Try not to look at them. Where's Buchanan? Buchanan. Arthur. Crud. Ford. Nixon. Kennedy. Sorry, spelling has never been my strong suit. Kennedy or Nixon. Reagan. Carter. Darn it. Oh, did I already get Taylor in there? Oh, exactly. Taylor. Run out of time. Eisenhower. Truman. Gosh darn it. Oh, Phil. Oops, not Fillmore. 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 Fillmore? Wilson. 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 Nope, I lost. Okay. I missed Martin Van Buren, John Tyler, James K. Polk, Rutherford B. Hayes, James Garfield, William McKinley, Warren G. Harding, and Calvin Coolidge. Alright. I think that'll be my last quiz. I did pull up 3 other ones. Maybe I can do this some other time. But for right now, I'm going to go record me reading Casey at the Bat. I'll try to do my best. Now, reciting poetry is not exactly my forte, but I will give it my best shot. And, ooh, that wouldn't make you sick. But anyway, for this live stream, I'm going to be done for today. So happy Independence Day for all of us Americans, or happy 4th of July if you would prefer. But for right now, this has been poorman973, and oops, hold on. And I hope you all have a nice day and a happy holiday.